Jones' arrest is only the tip of the iceberg. Both his and Cameron's teams are rushing to deal with the consequences, and multiple people have come out, claiming that Jim's team is performing damage control at breakneck speed. They allegedly called out to numerous major media outlets, pressing for positive too despite the negative coverage. The media's focus on Jim's violent outburst is causing serious concern for his commercial operations, including prospective sponsorships and future partnerships. Will Fern still desire Cameron is apparently upset, and while V hasn't said much publicly, insiders say that he feels personally offended by Jim's actions. This wasn't just a physical attack dispute, it was a betrayal between these two. Cameron is said to be carefully considering his options, including the possibility of pursuing legal action against Jim. Whether the assault will lead to a lawsuit remains to be seen, but given the footage that's already out in the public eye, Cameron has a strong case. Let's get into the legal implications of this altercation. Jim Jones has been arrested, but what does that mean for him moving forward? First of all, assault battery charges aren't something to take lightly, particularly for someone as well known as Jim. Yes, he may have a high-profile legal team, but the truth remains that he might face significant penalties, including jail time, especially with the media so deeply engaged. Outcry is building by the day. Some legal experts are already that Jim might face a protracted court struggle. The video footage of the incident has already been utilized as evidence, and it's evident that the physicality of the altercation was excessive. Fury is shown unleashing punch after punch, knocking Cameron to the ground and not stopping until the harm had been done. Experts believe this type of action might lead to more serious charges, and Jim could face a fine, probation, or even time in prison if things go wrong. But that's not the only thing Jim has to worry about. The larger ramifications are far-reaching. There are murmurs circling that Jim's label, his management team, and even his closest supporters are evaluating their connections with him. There is discussion of contract renegotiations, prospective breakups with his business partners, and even a public apology tour. The last thing Jim wants is to lose his corporate empire over a silly altercation that couldn't have been prevented. But it's too late to fix the damage. As the legal drama, the public's impression of Jim Jones is being painted with a much darker brush. Gone are the days of the calm, controlled rapper with the swagger that everyone liked. Now, Jim is being portrayed as a loose cannon, a man who can't control his fury and lashes out when things don't go his way. Is this the image he intended to leaving behind? Or is this just another chapter in his fall from grace? But wait, some people close to Cameron are stating that he's not going to sit idly by and let Jim off the hook. Cameron, the sharp-witted artist Cameron, renowned for his sharp tongue, has apparently been making some calls of his own. Rumors have been circulating that Cameron has gone out to other individuals in the industry, seeking them for help on how to continue. He's reported to be developing a public declaration, may perhaps give even additional information about Jim's activities that haven't yet come to light, that might boost his position even further. If he chooses to pursue charges, it might put him in the spotlight, casting him as the victim in this narrative. The empathy of followers and the media might work in his advantage, making Jim the villain of the tale. Cameron gets to be perceived as the more controlled, level-headed one, while Jim is forced to deal with the repercussions from his acts. Nevertheless, there is another element to this story that we need to contemplate. What if this whole situation is larger than merely a personal dispute? Jim's actions were more than just a result of rage or frustration with Cameron. There are rumors that Jim may have been under the influence during the conflict. People close to the occurrence have suggested that Jim had been drinking before. The experience may have compromised his judgment, resulting in the outburst that has now damaged his reputation. This argument is just that, but it would undoubtedly explain why Jim would do something so dumb. Meanwhile, the world is waiting for Cameron's next move. He's reported to be pondering over the legal strategy, but he's also pondering utilizing this opportunity to address the problem publicly. A tweet, Instagram post, or even a YouTube video may shift the entire story in his advantage. It's a delicate dance, and Cameron understands that he has to handle this circumstance carefully. One mistake move, and the whole thing may backfire. So what's next for both of these guys? Where do they go from here? Jim confronts a future full of will he make amends with Cameron? Will he be able to repair his name and restore his position in the rap industry? Would Cameron grab this opportunity to bring charges, or will he let the issue die down and carry on with? His career is collapsing amid a public disagreement that has been simmering for years and is likely to reach a boiling point. Trust me when I say argue that this is far from finished. As the days pass, the effects of Jim Jones' arrest continue to escalate. The question on everyone's mind is what happens next. Will Jim be able to recover his job and reputation, or is this the beginning of the end for him? Also, how does Cameron deal with the aftermath? The drama has only just started, but the implications are already becoming clear. Let's begin with Jim's defense. Despite the solid evidence of the assault, Jim's legal team has not been sitting silently by, according to sources close to the situation, and they're doing all they can to get a shorter sentence, or maybe even have the charges dismissed completely. The strategies being investigated include claiming that the interaction was not planned. They're also asserting Jim was provoked, and his response was the product of a long-standing hostility between him and Cameron. But can this explanation hold weight when the footage shows Jim throwing blows and not backing down even after Cameron was on the ground? Time will tell, but it's clear that Jim is doing all in his capacity to escape prison time. Meanwhile, public opinion is evolving, and some who once supported Jim's tough guy image are starting to doubt whether he's the meme. Culture around Jim's imprisonment is harsh, with people blaming him for being unable to restrain his wrath. There's a feeling of disappointment in the air. His once devoted followers are starting to wander away. It's a long cry. Jim was once the untouchable, larger-than-life persona in the hip-hop world, but now he's just another cautionary tale about how fast things can change. Meanwhile, on social media, criticism has been severe, with everyone from hip-hop fans to celebs speaking in. Some have rushed to Jim's defense, noting, "Everyone has a breaking point, and his actions, although regrettable, were the result of years of pent-up wrath," but others are less sympathetic. Cameron's fans are especially vocal in calling Jim out for what they view as a breach of their connection. "True friends don't attack." One commenter stated, "Jim Jones, meantime, Cameron is playing the long game. He's been lying low publicly, but behind the scenes he's producing." Legal experts say Cameron is carefully analyzing his alternatives before deciding whether to bring a lawsuit or to simply let the problem cool down. Some are believing that Cameron may take the high road and trust the court system to handle it, while others believe that he's taking a more assertive approach. Whatever the circumstances on the financial front, things are growing difficult for both Jim and Cameron's record firm, apparently worried about the damage to his reputation, but no formal statement has been published. Some sources believe they're considering methods to split. Jim is in a hazardous position since his business arrangements are now being called into question. Will he lose? Endorsements and opportunities to cooperate with other artists are all up in the air, and as time passes, it looks that Jim's empire may fall for Cameron, but the circumstance is a bit different. The whole occurrence has put him back in the spotlight, but it has also pushed him to address some unpleasant facts. He's been receiving a lot of attention from the media, both positive and negative, and some are applauding him for not participating in a public fight. Some are wondering if he's only waiting for the best opportunity to strike back. It's apparent that Cameron knows how to exploit the media to his advantage, and he's chewing his time to make his next move. But when the dust settles, it's critical to recognize that this situation is far more than just a personal dispute between two musicians. Reflects something much greater, a society that glorifies violence and hostility in hip-hop for years. The rap game has been founded on the premise of being authentic and ready to go down when the time calls for it. But what happens when that attitude goes? What happens when a brawl is captured on film and the implications are more terrible than anybody thought? In the aftermath of Jim's arrest, industry insiders are starting to study these concerns, with some stating that Jim's acts may act as a wake-up call for the hip-hop community. It's not only about lyrics or swagger anymore, it's about responsibility. If Jim can fall from grace like this, so can anyone else. The question is, will this episode lead to a larger discussion about how hip-hop culture deals with conflict, Or will it simply be another example of a rapper gone wayward at this moment? Jim's activities are still unfolding, and legal fights are just the beginning. Public opinion will continue to shift, and the impact on Jim's career will become obvious in the coming months. But one thing is certain: this is a moment in time that no one in the hip-hop industry will forget, even Cameron. What's next for him while Jim is Cameron? It will be felt across the whole rap game. Their conflict has stirred up a larger topic about violence in hip